Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. Today, we bring you some significant news. Princess Beatrice goes nuts after Camilla lies about Andrew at secret meeting, according to an insider source. Queen Camilla rejected Prince William's proposal to restructure the royal family, which identified Princess Beatrice as a key element of his plan. The friction between the royal family is escalating. Princess Beatrice now addresses Camilla's rejection, referencing the late Queen's deathbed request for her emphasizing lineage rather than authority. This video will explore what the late Queen bequeathed to Princess Beatrice and the reasons for her vocal opposition to Camilla. Windsor Letter A. Princess's caution regarding royal turmoil altered the monarchy. The unanticipated royal assembly at Windsor Castle has generated constitutional and public relations challenges for the British monarchy. Princess Beatrice, possessing a secret withheld by the palace's highest authority, single-handedly usurped King Charles III. The concealed directive of Queen Elizabeth II about Prince Andrew's fate has ignited a controversy among private corridors, confidential records, and a parliamentary committee. The incident exposed significant divisions within the royal family and Queen Camilla's ascension to power, resulting in an unparalleled royal schism. Palace sources characterize a tumultuous institution, grappling with fraud, deceit, and the deliberate modification of a monarch's dying wishes. An overlooked correspondence, a daughter's resolve, and clandestine actions led to the downfall of the House of Windsor. A disturbing Windsor assembly. The night of the crisis. Windsor Castle was remarkably tranquil. A summons was issued without authorization. The royal family received a discreet pressing call to convene. No press releases or court circulars were disseminated. His composure revealed his initial fatigue at the arrival of King Charles III. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, trailed after him, her stern expression revealing her growing concern at the crown's internal discord. Prince William, the heir apparent, arrived soon thereafter, seeming notably tense. Nonetheless, Queen Camilla altered the ambiance of the place. Although few would acknowledge her importance, an unspoken acknowledgement permeated the room. She placed herself beside the king to signify her increasing prominence after Queen Elizabeth's demise. Courtiers speculated about her manipulation of significant documents and her influence on familial decisions. Prior to that evening, they murmured. An individual who has often shunned royal power dynamics was readmitted. Princess Beatrice advanced with resolve. The phrase urgent and private was clearly featured on her red file folder. She failed to offer an apology for her tardiness. Instead, she approached the grand table and observed the royals until she identified her father, Prince Andrew's vacant chair, symbolically designated but mostly unoccupied since his public humiliation. Gentle breeze. Prior to Beatrice's utterance, silence was evident. Her kind but assertive voice pierced the tension. Before proceeding, she said, "I request the re-evaluation of the late Queen's sealed correspondence, served as the catalyst." The eyes scanned the surroundings. Camilla's visage became rigid. Enthralled, Princess Anne inclined her body forward. Prince William averted his gaze, seeming uneasy. Beatrice ignited a very recognizable fuse. The last letter sent by Queen Elizabeth was contested, misconstrued, and concealed, as would later be disclosed. Beatrice sought to revive the destiny mandates of Prince Andrew. King Charles halted and commanded attention. Queen Camilla addressed the audience before his reply. "We have already scrutinized that letter, Beatrice," she said dismissively. "The circumstances were ambiguous." "Return is unnecessary." Beatrice persevered. "It was unequivocal," she retorted, raising her tone. "Concealed. I will read it tonight if necessary." The room became frigid. Beatrice was no longer the subdued princess or the devoted daughter. She instilled fear in those who believed they had overlooked the past. Anne tilted her head in astonishment. William finally raised his gaze, devoid of emotion. Charles oscillated between his spouse and niece. Camilla interlaced her fingers and leaned forward in her chair, striving for composure as chaos ensued. The environment fosters openness rather than resolution. Camilla buried dangerous objects. Princess Beatrice had all the solutions. Discovered the interred testament. Princess Beatrice was not intended to receive the confidential letter. The royal bureaucracy inadvertently disclosed it, undermining a well-constructed narrative. It was unintentionally sent to her St. James's Palace office in a leather-bound folio containing financial reports and charity briefings. The document seemed to have been buried amid other documents rather than incinerated. The upper portion of the envelope has the royal crest. In her exquisite handwriting, the late queen inscribed, "For council eyes only," underneath, to get posthumous recognition. Queen Elizabeth II. With trembling hands, she unfurled the soiled cloth. The Queen's decree impacted Prince Andrew. The anguish of a mother was articulated with precision. She acquiesced to the humiliation, public disgrace, and damage to the monarchy's prestige. She devised a recovery strategy. As stated in the letter, Prince Andrew has been irrevocably stripped of public duties and royal patronages. The Queen sought serene reflection and structured recovery, closely monitored by the family. The objective was private atonement, not banishment. The revised royal playbook seems to have abolished redemption, a concession formerly permitted by the Queen. Beatrice was apprehensive over a little phrase on the reverse of the letter. Queen Camilla composed the letter 3 days after Elizabeth's demise. An unsigned memo was directed to the king's private secretary. It indicated disdain. The complexity will increase throughout the changeover. If the tone of the letter is ambiguous, the council should refrain from reviewing it. Covert directives to depose a sovereign were present. Achieved success. Following the Queen's demise, the Accession Council did not deliberate on the wording. King Charles, encumbered by his new responsibilities, seemed to believe that consensus determined his brother's fate. William, absorbed in his expanding responsibilities as Prince of Wales, refrained from inquiring. Princess Anne encountered procedural obstacles that she did not anticipate, notwithstanding her ambiguity over Andrew's swift and total expulsion. At that instant, Beatrice perceived everything. Her grandmother did not want her father's permanent absence. Camilla orchestrated it. A woman claiming to safeguard the crown may have deceived the royal family to acquire influence. The treachery was profound. "My father was never meant to be annihilated," Beatrice said in her office, reviewing her grandmother's remarks. "Clemency from the sovereign." Camilla secured the door and concealed the key. It surpassed Andrew's fate. Deceit, heritage, and sovereign manipulation were implicated. A solitary individual sat beside the king to assume the Queen's voice, silenced by death. The letter was returned to Beatrice's safe inside the red folder. Safeguard it. Do not conceal it. She understood that Queen Camilla would confront an investigation and a breach of trust to mend if this information were disclosed. Camilla's covert strategy. Contrary to public perception of a unified monarchy, Queen Camilla and select loyalists convened clandestinely to suppress Prince Andrew. Upon discovering the letter, Beatrice uncovered a political conspiracy. In the weeks subsequent to Queen Elizabeth's death, Clarence House conducted an atypical private session amidst global mourning and the prevailing royal formality surrounding the Windsors. The succession process did not include the whole Privy Council. An insider referred to this meticulously organized gathering as the Windsor Strategy Group, which was chaired by Camilla. She was surrounded by loyal courtiers, esteemed advisors who had established their careers on her achievements and aids. This inner circle decided, not lamented. Their decision would alter the royal atmosphere more significantly than an official declaration. Camilla proposed monarchical purification. She sought to permanently exclude Prince Andrew from public life and the royal family. He lost state-sponsored security royal assets, access to the palace network and informal influence, absolute institutional obscurity. She characterized it as a judicious, intentional action to restore popular trust and royal stature. The strategy was more assertive than the late Queen anticipated. Prince William was concerned about the monarchy's future while uncertain. He was momentarily comforted by the assurance that his uncle's predicament was being managed internally to protect the future king. Consistently pragmatic, Princess Anne posed direct questions. A source said that she inquired whether Camilla's rigidity sprang from her mother or was inherent to her character. Her inquiries were not disregarded, but were overlooked owing to procedural terminology and pending evaluations. Camilla acquired influence covertly in the next weeks. The queen consort was a covert sovereign determining who may access the king and which documents to prioritize and conceal. In private discussions, she often said, "The monarchy's endurance depends on a new beginning." Endurance for whom conditions deteriorated when Beatrice convened with many of her confidants, including Yorkist court officials, her father's legal counsel, and a former high-ranking member of the Queen's staff. Rumors have been substantiated. An aide was threatened with reputational consequences for challenging the Queen's directives. Another presented a draft policy letter from a Camilla assistant that revoked Andrew's rights weeks before the family's assessment. Camilla's unassuming selection excluded the king. The astute, silver-haired senior archivist, Mr. Langley, made a seemingly nonchalant remark that was, in fact, rather peculiar. He referenced a supplementary document associated with the Queen's letter that was stored in the palace system, but has since been relocated to a high-security vault. The system-logged title, "A Path to Redemption." Personal reflections on Andrew's future was disconcerting despite its ambiguity. No others outside Camilla's cohort saw it. Revealed recordings, unidentified voice. Beatrice subsequently discovered a personal political connection. Documents not meant for public consumption were located in the Windsor archives. With assistance from the distressed archivist, she covertly sought their liberation. What she saw changed everything. Mr. Langley, the archivist, approached her nonchalantly, jeopardizing his employment. He discovered audio recordings of Windsor Strategy Group discussions inside outdated council records labeled as non-essential media. A clerical error preserved them despite their intended removal from recording. Beatrice perceived muted noises emanating from a secured soundproofed zone next to the royal residence. The first several minutes were unremarkable. Camilla's formidable, resolute voice rendered her cold. She issued directives, not counsel. Camilla informed her team via video that detrimental truths should be concealed, not confronted. She also said that rehabilitation will only provoke public sympathy, and emotion is a liability when seeking to resolve issues. The sentence made Beatrice gasp. Camilla claimed Andrew's concerns are personal. People will want to fix him if they recognize his flaws. Quiet will make them forget him. Silence matters. Mastery of narrative manipulation, not detachment. Instead of responding, Camilla affected public opinion. She realized the story's power. Inferring Andrew preferred her dominance in the budding kingdom above its decline. Camilla called Andrew's rehabilitation therapy, organized charity, and private mentorship liabilities masquerading as hope. She warned her associates that the late Queen's compassion cannot define this new reign. Healing is not our priority. Our company is survival-focused. Beatrice listened quietly, crying. These were personal pain manipulations, not government choices. Her father was broken and abandoned without discussion. His suffering helped others rise. She capitalized on his anguish to validate her dominance, Beatrice whispered. Her newfound awareness was real. Unredacted evidence hurts. They purposefully disobeyed the late Queen. Prince Andrew's death was politicized. Queen Camilla shielded the photograph from everyone, even the king. However, Beatrice did. She spoke clearly. Confrontation and revelation. After getting the recordings and Queen's communications, Beatrice faced the mastermind. Beatrice requested a Camilla meeting. Clear rules, no advisors, no aides. No undisputed truth. Camilla reportedly agreed, seeming calm and assured. She entered St. James's Palace's drawing parlor without documents or questions as planned. She entered believing nothing could hurt her. Beatrice set the red folder on fire. "You were completely cognizant of your actions," Beatrice mourned. "Still, you persevered." Eyebrows raised at Camilla, she wisely remarked, "If you are referencing that letter or those unfortunate recordings, it is regrettable that you have allowed your emotions to cloud your judgment. The world needed stability, not family strife." "Stability," Beatrice replied loudly. "Does denying my father his last opportunity for repentance indicate stability? Must I ignore my grandmother's wishes?" Camilla was cruel. "Your father's behavior shames us. Save what's left. He won't return, Beatrice. The world chose." "You can't decide," Beatrice replied, clenching her fists. The Queen disagreed. She saw a flawed yet redeemable person. "Write, seal, and expect cooperation. To strengthen yourself, you secretly continued her heritage." Queen consort focused. "I backed monarchy. You outperformed Dad." Electric tension filled the room. Beatrice said, "No. Your effect lasted. You crushed a mother's dream. You stated it was for the greater good, but it was just control. Your composure is slipping." Camilla gave in to rage. "It was never meant for you," she said. The room lost air. That one sentence proved everything. Camilla hid the Queen's ambitions from her grandson. The facade fell. Camilla left softly. Determined, Beatrice persisted. The meeting became public. A prominent British newspaper journalist received an anonymous notification within 48 hours. That morning, part of the Queen's long-hidden letter was revealed. Camilla led the Queen's Buried by Palace fundraiser for Andrew, which attracted global attention. Regarding unnamed palace sources, Elizabeth's last orders were noteworthy. Camilla's publicity staff was shocked and blamed private family matters and selective leaks intended to mislead. The damage was irreparable. "Let Beatrice speak" and "Asha justice for Queen Elizabeth" trended for days. The resistance to Andrew shifted public attention to royal intrigue and treachery. Beatrice kept mute throughout the chaos to increase interest. Camilla's and Beatrice's strength replaced Andrew's turmoil. Princess to the legislature. Princess Beatrice surprised Westminster and Buckingham Palace by appealing to the Royal Advisory Committee, a rare assembly of senior lawmakers and privy councillors, regarding an internal issue. The proposition passed under popular pressure. She entered Westminster Palace in civilian clothes. Princess Anne backed her. Beatrice copied the Queen's letter. She began with a firm tone, recalling the late Queen as a mother and queen. She opened and read the letter. She said, "My son shall not be abandoned without the chance to repair his internal fractures echoing in the quiet chamber." She examined every detail of the Queen's private atonement, not public repair plan. There were room-wide gasps. Clumsy hush filled the room. A senior lord whispered, "Did the Queen consort overstep her jurisdiction?" It was now an official inquiry. Beatrice revealed the last, most upsetting paper. A thorough 2-year reintegration strategy was the second classified document. The Queen-approved strategy requires Prince Andrew to take charge and develop empathy. He may discreetly support veteran mental health and trauma recovery. It brought atonement, not fame. Andrew's handwritten message to his mother was another touching file find. It was passionately read by Beatrice. "Should I disappear, let them know I tried." The room was quiet. Even Andrew's enemies worried. After discovering he was duped, Prince William shifted his concentration throughout the session. Princess Catherine of Wales gently took Beatrice's hand in compassion. Beatrice stated the royals valued appearance above authenticity. Her speech ended with a heartbreaking statement, "You have not seen everything. The whole truth must be revealed. Monarch Chronicles. The palace was silent for weeks following the session as King Charles prepared to shock the public. He revealed a shocking surprise and validated and hid his mother's communication. He said, "In the complexities of the transition, I mistakenly placed my trust in my loved ones. I am unable to articulate my mother's final wishes. This weighs heavily on me." While Camilla's office released a no-comment statement, her absence was notable. King praised Beatrice for an act of remarkable courage and fidelity, not to a title but to the truth. He also thanked her for speaking when quiet was easier and mirroring his mother's spirit. The royal advisor on legacy affairs job was crucial. The king chose Princess Beatrice to uphold tradition and protect the institution from modern politics. He looked at Prince William to his right and Beatrice in the front row before finishing. "The future of this monarchy does not depend exclusively on tradition," he continued, his voice rising. "The reality supports this. I see my son and niece as the foundational elements of that new legacy. Accountability replaced scandal, and by dusk the underdog princess had solidified her position, giving the crown an opportunity to restore its integrity." The turmoil ended, but the House of Windsor was irrevocably changed. The next morning, strategically orchestrated gossip made negative headlines. The hashtag #IshRoyalDivide trended by midday, and TikTok was filled with amateur analyses and fallout commentary. Morning news outlets immediately hired body language experts to analyze all Sandringham footage. King Charles was incensed and saw betrayal in the headlines on his desk. He understood the situation without a media consultant and needed no evidence. He knew her scheme and recognized her calculated strategies. No traces, no direct evidence, but a facade of orchestrated chaos to support her narrative. She showed great sadness and exploited his biggest flaw. She mocked his steadfast, unifying monarch persona since his mother's death. The feeble king granted favors was influenced by familial strife and was tormented by Diana. The palace was severely damaged, and the court is now split. Many courtiers sympathized with Camilla's undeserved marginalization, while her enemies called her reckless and deceptive. Media and judicial support have left the king. Camilla was called for another confrontation at Clarence House on a cold, cloudy day, with light rain to avoid further deterioration. The mansion's oppressive silence suggested an ancient, delicate creature on the edge of collapse. Camilla entered impassively, chin high, and sat opposite him, clasping her hands. No tea or pleasantries were provided. "I am aware of the origin of those articles," Camilla Charles responded, exhausted but determined. Her slow blinks showed reluctance. He replied, "You are engaging in a perilous undertaking, exhausted instead of angry. You believe it solely affects me, yet it endangers the entire institution. Another upheaval would destroy the monarchy. Not now." After a long silence, she calmly stated her position. "You left me financially destitute. There were no guarantees. Without you, I have no voice, refuge, or stability. My goal has always been to protect my child and me, Charles." "You shall have it," he said. "I will stipulate in my will that Tom will receive assistance. He will receive an honorary title property and official recognition, and his safety is guaranteed. No one will challenge the throne." Camilla nodded steadily without a smile. It was a triumph, but not one she wanted for her kid. Her heritage guaranteed aristocratic status and a temporary ceasefire. Peace was just a prelude to the scheduled action in her domain. Tom Parker Bowles wins Queens. Tom Parker Bowles, the son of Queen Camilla, has been her staunchest defender during the House of Windsor's power struggles. Palace insiders say a recent meeting escalated from disagreement to a major altercation, possibly ending any chance of reconciliation and worsening an already strained family relationship. Tom, known for supporting his mother and opposing Prince Harry, resigned as an impartial, non-royal observer in early July. He said enough. Tom and the Duke of Sussex then seemed to discard all etiquette. Queen Camilla seemed unfazed, showing empathy for her son. She allegedly told close friends that Prince Harry's constant distress had exasperated her and that she was done feigning happiness. Camilla supported her son and maintained a strong mother-son bond, but Harry's revelation of familial secrets would hinder reconciliation. King Charles hasn't responded, but he seems to defend his wife and stepson. The Sussexes have publicly rebuked the family. Tom, who has avoided royal intrigue and public attention, reportedly showed raw emotion about his mother's influence. He claims that Prince Harry has deeply hurt Queen Camilla and unfairly portrayed her as the antagonist in a narrative she did not start. The British media and public have rallied behind the Queen after his passionate appeal. Born on December 18, 1974, Tom Parker Bowles was raised at Bolhide Manor and Middlewick House in Wiltshire without royal formality by his father, Andrew Parker Bowles, who raised him and his sister Laura in the Catholic faith. Despite the possibility of inheriting the earldom of Macclesfield, Tom has never aspired to aristocratic titles. After studying at Eton and Worcester College, Oxford, he became a publicist for small tabloids in the late 1990s and rose to fame in 2001 when he became Tatler's food writer. His work in the Mail on Sunday Esquire, Harper's Bazaar, Market Kitchen, MasterChef UK, and Gordon Ramsay's The F Word spans 20 years. E is for Eating an Alphabet of Greed 2004 was followed by several award-winning culinary works. Cooking and the Crown Royal Recipes from Queen Victoria to King Charles III 2024 perfectly blends his passion and family links. He co-founded Mr. Trotter's Great British Pork Crackling, which has expanded into other artisanal foods and beverages due to entrepreneurial energy. Tom's personal life has been filled with joy and sorrow. After the birth of two daughters, Lola and Frederick, his 2005 marriage to fashion writer Sarah Baez ended in 2018 and was finalized in 2022. Friends say he developed a romantic attachment to former journalist Alice Prokop, who died of cancer in 2021. Freddie, his son, was Queen Camilla's page of honor during her coronation on May 6, 2023, representing his family's togetherness in the new monarchy. In the context of Prince Harry's conflicts, Tom Parker Bowles has changed public perception of his mother-redefined palace controversies and shown that the House of Windsor is a complex, loyal, and sometimes fiercely protective family beneath its archaic titles and strict traditions. The question is whether these instincts will preserve the monarchy. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.